like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so let's dive right in. We're looking at the music scene at Trump's inauguration back in 2025.
Trump's back.
Yeah, the 47th president, remember? It was January 20th, the official swearing in, and the whole thing, the music, I mean, it caused quite a stir online.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. It was all over the place.
Some were calling it diverse. Others were saying disastrous. You know, the usual internet extremes. We're talking big names, too. Carrie Underwood singing America the Beautiful at the actual ceremony. Nelly at the Liberty Ball. Even Snoop Dogg showed up at that crypto ball thing.
Yeah, what was up with that?
Well, that's what we're here to figure out. So we've got this article from The Standard. They did a whole piece on it.
Interesting.
And what we're going to try and do is, well, see why these performances were so controversial. Like, what is it about music and politics, you know, celebrity and all that gets people so riled up?
Yeah, it's like you can't just enjoy a song anymore without someone making it political.
Right. Like, take Carrie Underwood. She's what, a country music icon, American Idol winner?
Yeah, everyone knows her.
Seems pretty standard for an inauguration to have her sing America the Beautiful. But people in the article were calling her canceled, gross, disappointing. It got intense.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. People were really upset.
It was intense. And the thing is, some fans, they saw it as her, like, endorsing Trump and his whole platform.
I mean, given her past support for, you know, LGBTQ plus rights, it is kind of jarring.
Yeah. One person in the article even said, don't ever call yourself an LGBTQ ally again. You're supporting the man who wants to abolish LGBTQ rights. You should be ashamed.
Ouch.
It really shows you how betrayed some fans felt, right? It's like they expect every artist to match their values perfectly.
And anything less is a personal attack, yeah. It's a lot of pressure on musicians, don't you think?
Totally. But isn't this a bigger trend anyway? Like, everything's so political now, even entertainment.
It's true. You don't just have to be talented anymore. You got to be an activist and a role model, too.
Which is tough when you've got someone like Underwood. She's got such a huge and diverse fan base, all sorts of political views out there.
Exactly. So how are artists even supposed to handle that? They got to speak out on everything, even if it means losing some fans.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Now, Nelly, he got heat too for playing the Liberty Ball. But his reasoning was interesting. He was saying it was out of respect for the office of the president, you know, no matter who's holding it.
Oh, I remember him saying something like that. It was a pretty bold statement.
He even compared it to soldiers serving their country, regardless of how they feel about whoever's in charge.
Makes you think.
But the article also had people saying that respecting the office doesn't mean you ignore the harm the person in it might be causing. Someone actually said, respecting the office is one thing, but ignoring the harm caused by the person in it is another. Accountability matters.
That's a good point. Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Respecting institutions versus holding people accountable. It's a real dilemma, especially these days.
For sure. And, you know, it gets even more complicated when you think about Nelly's past. I mean, he was criticizing Trump back in 2017.
Right. So what changed? Did his views actually evolve, or is he just, you know, sticking to that whole respect the office thing?
It's fascinating, right? All these layers to it.
It's not black and white at all. Personal experiences, changing perspectives, and this constant feeling that everything you do is being watched and judged politically.
Totally agree. It makes this whole deep dive even more intriguing.
Speaking of changing perspectives, we got to talk Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah, Snoop. He really flipped the script.
The guy was openly against Trump in 2017, and then, bam, performing at the crypto ball, celebrating the guy.
Yeah, the internet went crazy. I remember thinking, wait, what's happening?
Totally understandable. I mean, Snoop's got this whole image, right? But then you have to remember, in 2024, Trump pardoned his collaborator, Michael Harris.
Oh, yeah, that was a big deal.
And since then, Snoop's been thanking Trump, even saying, Donald Trump, he ain't done nothing wrong to me. He's done only great things for me.
So personal experience wins out. Huh, that's interesting.
It makes you wonder if his gratitude just totally overshadowed his earlier criticisms, you know?
Definitely adds another layer of complexity to this whole idea of artists making endorsements.
It's not so straightforward. So we've got Underwood, seemingly with Trump, Nelly arguing for the institution, and Snoop potentially swayed by personal experience. Three artists, three very different ways of dealing with this whole music and politics thing.
It really is fascinating and makes you think, do artists have a responsibility to their fans' political views? Can you really separate art from politics completely?
Or are we just too quick to judge and cancel anyone who doesn't agree with us 100%.
Some tough questions to think about. And I think we're just scratching the surface here.
It makes you think about how different things were back in the day, Like, musicians could say what they thought and not get ripped apart online.
Yeah, I mean, things have definitely shifted, haven't they?
Big time.
I think a lot of it has to do with, well, social media. It's given fans this, direct line to artists. It's like they expect this constant back and forth, the engagement and all that.
And then every little thing gets analyzed. Like, what are they really saying with this post?
Exactly. It creates a sense of accountability that wasn't really there before. Every post, every performance, it all becomes political.
So it's not just the music, huh? It's the whole package, their image, their brand, what they supposedly stand for.
It's a lot for artists to deal with, On the one hand, they should be able to express themselves.
Right.
And make choices they believe in. But then on the other hand, they know every decision could alienate some fans, especially with politics.
It's a tightrope walk, isn't it? Trying to balance their art with what everyone expects from them, especially when everyone's so divided.
And social media just makes it worse, It's like this echo chamber, any little misstep, and bam, you're canceled.
Oh, yeah. Cancel culture is a whole other beast. People are so quick to judge, like, you're either with us or against us.
And it's important to hold people accountable, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it feels like there's no room for nuance or, actual conversation.
Totally. You also got to think about the genre, right? Like, country music, it's got this whole association with patriotism and traditional values, which is why Underwood's thing with Trump hit so hard.
That's a good point. The genre definitely sets certain expectations, and when those are broken, people react strongly.
It's interesting, though, right? Because artists have always been involved in politics.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about the folk singers in the 60s, protest music during Vietnam, hip-hop calling out injustice. It's always been there.
True. But it feels different now, doesn't it?
It's not just about artists speaking out. It's about fans demanding that they agree with them specifically.
Yeah, and if you don't, well, that's when the outrage comes.
I feel like it goes back to what we were saying about social media and everything being so polarized, everyone in their own little bubble.
It's hard to see the other side sometimes, or even be open to different opinions. It's also us versus them.
So how do we fix it? How do we, make space for artists to express themselves, for fans to engage with their work and actually talk about politics without all the yelling and canceling?
That's the big question. I think, for me, it starts with realizing that artists, they're complex people. They've got their own experiences, their own views. Performing somewhere doesn't mean they agree with every single thing that person represents.
Yeah, makes sense.
And just because you disagree with someone, it doesn't make them a bad person or that their art is subtly bad.
We need more nuance, right?
Yeah.
Less jumping to conclusions.
Definitely. More listening, more trying to understand different perspectives, even if we don't agree with them.
It's about respect, disagreeing without being disrespectful.
Exactly. And I think fans need to remember that artists are human. They're not just puppets for our political beliefs.
Right.
They mess up, they change, they have opinions that might not match ours. That's okay.
The pressure on them must be huge, though.
Oh, for sure.
They're trying to stay true to themselves, but also be mindful of how their actions affect everyone else.
It's tough. That's why these conversations are important, Analyzing these situations, really thinking about the role of art and artists in all of this.
So where are we at now? We've talked about all the controversy, how things have changed between artists and fans, and how intertwined everything is with politics.
We've looked at personal experiences, how genre plays a role, and how social media just amplifies everything.
But now let's bring it back to you, the listener.
What can you take away from all this? How does it all connect to how you see music, politics, and, well, being a fan? First things first, remember that there's usually no easy answer. It's complicated. There are different sides to every story, and everyone's got their reasons for doing what they do.
So we spent all this time talking about the music at Trump's inauguration back in 25, all the controversy around it.
Carrie Underwood, Nelly, Snoop Dogg, they all got caught in the crossfire, huh?
Yeah, each in their own way. But what does it all mean for us, As listeners, as fans, what do we do with all this?
Well, one thing's for sure, the whole art of fan thing, it's not what it used to be.
Not even close.
Social media, the news, everything's so polarized now.
And exhausting.
It can be. You can't just enjoy the music without thinking about their views, their actions, all that.
Like, we're all supposed to be political experts now.
You don't have to be an expert, but thinking critically is important. That's what this deep dive is all about.
It's not about telling anyone what to think about these artists, right?
Exactly. It's about giving you context, showing the different sides of the story, and letting you form your own opinion.
So instead of just jumping on the cancel train, maybe we should actually think about why something bothers us.
Yeah, what are your values? How do they line up with or clash with what the artist is doing?
It's about having real conversations, right? Not just knee-jerk reactions.
With yourself and with others. Open dialogue is important, even when it's tough.
And let's not forget, artists are human too.
They make mistakes, they change their minds, they have opinions we might not like.
Just because you disagree with something they did doesn't mean their whole career is garbage.
One thing that really struck me going through all this is how powerful personal experiences can be.
Oh yeah, like with Snoop and the pardon.
It changed his whole view of Trump. It reminds you that these personal things, they can totally reshape your beliefs, even about someone as divisive as Trump.
It's easy to assume we know everything about someone just from headlines, you know?
Right. But this shows how important it is to actually dig deeper, to look beyond the surface.
Don't just read the sound bites, get the whole story.
Especially in today's world where everything is so black and white.
It's all about the nuance.
Understanding each other, even when we disagree, there's always room for that.
So as you go about your day, think about your favorite artists, the ones you can't stand. All of them.
Are you holding them to an impossible standard?
Are you open to hearing what they have to say, even if it makes you uncomfortable?
And most importantly, are you willing to listen, to learn, to keep the conversation going?
Because that's what this deep dive is for, to make you think, to get the dialogue started, and to help you make sense of it all. Music, politics, culture. It's all connected.
And it's constantly evolving, which makes it all the more fascinating to explore.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you something to think about.
Keep exploring these questions, keep the conversation going. That's how we learn and grow.
Until next time.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Bobby doll. Show them all what I'm